Alright, so first step is we're going to take some factory Hornady 17 HMR rounds. Just for this demo I'm only going to do one, but these are 17 grain VMAX. Really good rounds. Perform the best in my rifles. We need those. This is an extension piece, and then we have our shell holder. Hopefully this is coming in focus somehow. There we go. You can see the 17 HMR locks in. It's nice and tight, no play. I believe that's a 25 ACP shell holder. It's been a long time since I bought it, so don't quote me on that, but I think it is. It's perfect for the head size of this, both depth and for width. So the last thing we're going to use is this tool. It's called a grip and pull. So it has different size. They make different ones of these. So this one is the standard rifle. I don't know if you can see that. These are kind of etched in, but it's hard to see. So we have 30 caliber, 27 and 28, 25 and 26, 24, 22, and 20 and 17 caliber. So we're going to be using this for pulling the bullet out. So we'll go ahead and get our shell holder in there. And our round in the shell holder. And we want to get it right up to where the edge of the case is at this level, because we don't want to be grabbing the case with the grip and pull. We want to be only grabbing the bullet. There we go. So, grab this real quick. So, there's our projectile. So, little boat tail 17 grain. And what we have left is our case, minus the bullet. So check the rim. Rim looks alright. Now we're going to go ahead and dump this out into my container full of factory Hornady powder. Alright, so we now have our case that's been stripped down to just primer inside. So we need a little bit of water, so I've got water in the center of this that we're going to use a dropper so that we can accurately use the water without pouring it everywhere. This is a plastic pick that we're going to be using, and I have a metal angled pick that we'll be also using to get around inside the case. And then what you can see right here is the base to an old vibratory tumbler, and I've removed the whole top half so I can use it to vibrate the 17 HMR case. So I'm going to start sucking up a little bit of water. And we're going to put a few drops in. And give it a few taps. Hoping this is in focus. Give it a few taps. We'll get the water down on the bottom. It likes to pool up on the very top. And what this is going to do is this is going to neutralize the primer a little bit. So I'm going to take my plastic pick right here, and we're going to go diving in. we're going to scrape around the whole outside. Tap it out. You guys can see that primer coming out. I don't know if you can see inside the case, but it's also that yellowy color. It's pretty nasty. You can see how much there is. We're going to get a little bit more water in there. Starting to look pretty good. Got most of that out. Now we're going to vibrate it. A little bit more water. So what this is going to do is this is going to help last little bit that's in the rim that I can't reach. It's going to start to loosen it up and mix it with the water. So the camera might go blurry for a sec, we'll see. I'm putting it just right on the top of the pad. Let's move the camera over. I'm going to hold it down the best I can. Hopefully that didn't make you too dizzy, because I know it makes me all wig out. Do a little bit more. And now it's starting to come out a little bit clearer. So we're gonna now take the metal pick, now that we have the majority of that out, and scrape around the edge. More water. Don't want to scrape hard because you can etch the case, because this is very hard stainless. We don't want to ruin the integrity of the case. So I'm spinning it in two directions at the same time, so I'm making sure to get everything best I can. Now looking down in the case, there's nothing that I can see. Now of course, I can't be perfect. I can't get all of it out absolutely perfectly. For the accuracy that I get out of it, it makes no difference whatsoever. So, just looking through and everything looks nice and clean. Alright, so we've tumbled our brass now. And that gets out a lot of what's left over on the inside. So it should be as good as we can possibly get it. So we're going to go ahead and anneal it now. So I use the EP Integrations annealer, and the reason is because it has this quick adapt system for adjusting what case you're running. It takes like 2 seconds to adjust it. And it does 17 HMR just perfectly, so I can go all the way up to 50 BMG. yeah, so it's a great annealer and super fast on adjusting everything you need. So I'm gonna stick our brass there. If I had a whole bunch of brass, I'd have it all ready to go. Have our speed set already. That's all we need to do to anneal our brass. So we're going to let that cool off, and then we can get to the next step. So hopefully you can see this case. This little die basically fits a case perfectly. In this case, I don't know if you can tell, but it sticks up just a hair above the edge here. So we want that to be flush. Where I get the most consistency is where that's flush. So we're gonna go ahead and chamfer that down. It's the easiest way to do it with such a small amount that has to come off. I have the Power case prep center, but I would put this die in my single stage press if I were going to be using a hand chamfering tool. So also doubles as helping the bullet to seep into the case a little bit better. Getting right down to the edge there. So you can see that this has a little lip for the rim. So it fits perfectly flat there, which is on once fired or multi-fired brass. I will make sure the head is nice and flat with that. Go down just a hair bit more. Be careful not to go too fast, because if that gets too hot, it can allow the case to split. So go little by little. And drop in. We're right where we want to be. I can feel that's a nice sharp edge, which is good.
Alright, so we're going to turn the neck. And I bought this extra chuck, so I bought that online, and I took the teeth out and I did some reshaping on the jaws and sharpened them up so it is like a three-pronged turning tool, which also helps make sure that the neck is all nice and even. My typical centerfire neck turning tool, I did a ton of modifications to it at one point and I could not make it work. So yeah, so this was my backup plan, and it actually works extremely well. So it's a nice tight fit in here. We're gonna tighten it down just a hair. So you can see how nice and shiny that is. So it makes that neck just right, nice and even all the way around.
Our next step is to take the case, and we're going to go ahead and put priming in it. I have a priming compound that I mix up. It's my own blend. There are a couple commercial blends out there, not the greatest success, so I have my own, which works very, very well. So I have this homemade whipped up milled funnel, just big enough to lock onto the case, and that way it doesn't fall over or anything. And so take that, set it off to the side. And this scoop is exactly the amount that I want if it's leveled off. I mixed up just enough for this one case. Alright, so that is a full scoop, which is exactly what we want. To take our funneled case and just drop that right in there. Make sure there's nothing left in there. Alright, so can't really tell probably, but there is a little bit on the edges there that you don't need to worry about right now. We will get that with the next little part of this. So this is 100% alcohol in this container. I poured it in from another container. The reason that we want to use 100% alcohol is because we need it to evaporate off. So make sure we have a 1/4 milliliter in there. Get all the bubbles out. We're right at a 1/4 now. I don't know if you can see that. We're going to drip this in. And I'm just going around the edges because that's going to get that priming compound down. Get it into the case. So we've got our 1/4 milliliter in there. Make sure it all gets down in the base. And I'm going to put 3 more drops now. Take the funnel off. Three drops. Now comes the fun part. We need to spin this into the rim. So we have our drill, which has already been chucked for the right size because we used it to turn. So it holds that in really well. Got it on the fastest speed possible. So we're going to mix it up. Just kind of shake it, mix it around. What we're doing is we're packing it into the rim. The centrifugal force is pushing it into the rim because it's a slurry. Pull that out. Take a look. And don't see the center yet, so we're going to stick, this is our plastic tool, so we're going to stick that down in there. Make sure it's well mixed up. Let's put her, spin it a little bit more. Now that we've got it spun in, we're just going to take it and dab. Well, it's going to get rid of any excess of the alcohol. So I'm sure you can't see down in there, but you can see right in the center. There's a little dot of of gold in there. I wish I could make that work, but and that means that it's all packed into the rim. So all the excess alcohol is out, and that's spun and packed into the rim now. So that is primed. So what we're gonna do is leave this overnight, and after leaving it overnight, all that will evaporate off, and the priming compound will turn into like a concrete in there, and then we can go ahead and finish it up. Alright, so we're back, and we're using the O-House dial-o-grain scale, which is an incredibly accurate scale. Really love it, especially down low in really small powder charges, but it's great for everything. So I have some of my magic fairy dust already loaded up in the trickler. I'm not going to tell you how much I use or what I use, because somebody's going to mess with it and blow themselves up, and I'm not going to be responsible. So you guys want to try it out, that's at your own risk. It took me a long time and a lot of broken, blown up parts and almost blowing myself up. So I won't be responsible for that by telling you what my recipe is. So those of you that want to know, sorry. So we're going to go ahead and trickle out what I need. Two. One more. One more flake. Perfect. Right on the money. So, we have our case with our handy dandy funnel again. And everything inside is nice and dry. So you can see our magic fairy dust. And I know it seems stupid, but seriously, making sure every single one of those flakes get in makes a big difference. Everything looks good, don't see anything around the rim. So we are in the final stretch. So now it's time to seat the bullet. We have our custom 17 HMR seating die, micrometer adjustments. So our case goes right in the bottom, fits nice and flush. And we just drop our bullet in the top. And there we go. We got the double crunch. Should be good. There we go. That. We got a good focus on that. Maybe. There we go. That's better. Seated right where we want it. That thing's ready to rock and roll. So, you can look, we do have the option of crimping. I do have a crimping die. So the last part of this before we take it out is we are going to make sure that the bullet is concentric in the neck. If it's not, then it hits the lands kind of at a funky angle, and that can throw off accuracy. So we're going to make sure that this is as concentric as we can get it, and that will definitely dial in our accuracy as well. So let's zoom in on our gauge here. So the goal is to have this needle move as little as humanly possible. If it moves a lot, we have a little piece down here that we can adjust to push the bullet around and make it a little bit more even in there. So let's see what it measures just right off of being seated. I am seeing very, very little deflection. So we're going to get it to where it's the lowest. Right there. And I'm going to push this bullet over just a tiny bit. And what you're seeing is the deflection of me pushing on the bullet. So we are basically, we are very, very close to being perfect on this one. So that's what we want, is we want this thing to be as good as possible. Alright, so we have one round ready to go. So that's the process. When I get rolling, it's not too bad. You just do a whole bunch each step. A lot easier if you can get people to help you, but sometimes you can't.